everyone, it's Marcy from Winona Public Library, back with another science experiment that you can do at home. Today we're going to be making stalactites. Those are those long, drippy columns of minerals and crystals that hang from the ceiling of caves. And you're going to make a simple version of those at home. So for this experiment, you're going to need 2 small mason jars. They look like this. You'll need 2 bendy straws, a piece of yarn about 4 feet long, scissors and a spoon, a bowl, some baking soda and food coloring, and last but not least, some warm tap water. So we'll start by making a saturated solution of baking soda and water in our 2 little jars. So you're going to want to fill them about 2/3 full. That looks about right. With that hot tap water. Oh, those are not equal at all. I'll put some in here. You want them to be about the same, but it doesn't have to be exact. Then we're going to take some baking soda and drop in about a tablespoon at a time. 1, and you want to be the same on each side. There's 1 there. I'll do 1 more here, and 1 more here. And then stir it up. So what we're looking for here is a saturated solution, meaning that there's so much baking soda in the water that some of it falls to the bottom of the jar. You can start to see that there. You might need to wait just a few minutes to see if you have enough and make sure that there's some on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and put 1 more scoop into each of my jars just to make sure. Okay, so now that we've got our saturated solution, you can see how there's a nice little layer of baking soda at the bottom of each jar. Then it's time to add a little bit of food coloring into each jar. You probably want to go with a dark color. I'm going to go ahead and use red. This is optional, you don't have to have food coloring, but it does give your stalactites a cool crystal. A cool color. So 3-4 drops in each one. And then stir it up. Now that we've got our solution all made, we need to give our stalactites something to grow from. So you're going to set your jars up and then put a little bowl in between them. The bowl is what's going to catch the drips when the drips come down from your stalactites as they grow. Now we need to make a little bridge for the stalactites to hang from. For this, you're going to need your 2 straws and your piece of yarn. For starters, take your yarn, fold it in half, and then kind of twist it so that it starts to look like this. You basically want to make there be 2 strands that become 1 really thick strand. So just give it a few twists. Then you're going to take your 2 straws and cut them about 1 inch below the elbow. Make sure you can see. Snip. Okay, so these 2 pieces with the bendy part are what we're going to use. Next, we're going to take our yarn and push it through each elbow. So kind of put it into the end of the straw. And then you might need something to help you poke the yarn through. I'm going to use a chopstick. A pencil might work, or a pipe cleaner, just something that will help you poke it and get it to the other side. And then once you've got one side all set, do that with the other side with the elbow facing the same way. You'll end up with something that's kind of shaped like an M. So you've got 2 tails and then a dippy part in the middle. Then you're going to go ahead and put that into your jars of colored water and hang it over your bowl. Make sure that the level of the yarn in the middle is lower than the level of the water in the jars. This is how you're going to form a drip point, so that your stalactites actually drip down this yarn instead of just staying in the jar where they want to be. Let's make sure that's nice and low. You're looking for something like this. Okay, so once you've set up your stalactites like this, it's time to put that in an area that doesn't get disturbed very much, like your basement or something where it's not going to get touched. And then you've got to wait a few days for the crystals to start forming. But luckily for you, I made one of these a few days ago, so I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. And this is what it looks like after about 3 days. So you can see how the crystals have grown on the yarn. And it looks super cool because of how the color is brighter on the ends than it is in the middle. Once you've got your setup in a place that won't be disturbed very much, like your basement, make sure you take a look at it every day or so because you'll want to see how those stalactites start growing. And then if the bowl in the middle ever gets full of that baking soda solution, you can go ahead and pour the extra back in the jars on the side to keep it going. So what's going on in this experiment is that baking soda is a crystal, which means it wants to have its distinctive crystal shape. Now, as it travels along the yarn, some of the water evaporates, which brings the baking soda back into a solid, and that's what forms the crystals as the water drips out of them. And real stalactites in caves, those things that hang from the ceiling, actually grow the same way. So water flows through the rock and brings minerals and other things with it, and then as the water drips out the other side, those minerals stay behind and form stalactites. And that's it for today. I hope y'all have fun making some stalactites at home, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!